Alright then guys, so this is Yara here, and today we're going to have a post-Phantom Nightmare tier list. Now that we've seen all the cards that are in that set, I've been looking at a lot of box openings. I've been playing a lot on Dueling Book. I've been watching a lot of videos. I've been going to my local tournaments, and I think I got a pretty good grasp of the current meta. So please hit that like and subscribe button, comment if you think I'm right or if I'm wrong. But yeah, let's get started. So this is gonna be Tri-Brigade Fire King. So I don't think pure Tri-Brigade can do much, but this is gonna be Tri-Brigade Fire King. He has so many pushes, Runics, being able to pop kit, being able to chain block the kit, chaining one kit, chaining two Runics, send Nervall, and then you're able to like keep chain blocking. Is pretty insane. So Fire King and Tri-Brigade have very good synergy. The fact that you have Beast Warriors, you have Wing Beast, you know, it just synergizes so well. So, and then with Revolt, you're able to put everything back. So the synergy is very, very good. It does lose hard to Droll though. So Droll is one of those cards that you don't want to be seeing if you're playing Fire King Tri-Brigade. So, but nevertheless, this deck is very, very, very good. So I'll put it over here at A. I don't think it's the tier S, but I do think it's a very good option if in case you want to go to a local tournament or a regional or anything like that. So now we're gonna have Runic Bestial. I mean, we saw that Joshua Schmidt ended up winning with Runic Bestial, and I'm surprised that the Runic cards didn't get hit at all, which doesn't make sense. It kind of makes me feel like Joshua Schmidt paid some money to Konami. Like, hey, you know, I'll keep posting videos, but you know, you gotta not hit Runic cards. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. But this deck is still pretty good. It's very, very good. So I'll put it over here. I mean, if you're able to end up on like a Regain, Fountain, Baron, like that's very good. Plus like hand traps or Runic quick plays in hand. So many interruptions, so many draws, so much follow up. I mean, this deck is very, very good. Quem is an insane card. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put that. So now we have Unchained. Unchained was the top dog. People don't remember this, but a couple months ago, Unchained was the top dog. Like not even just a couple of months ago. Like even like once Yama came out. After Yama came out, he started like topping YCS's regionals, case tournaments, everything, right? So only until now, recently, with the limit that we received, it makes it so that we haven't been seeing that many tops from Unchained players. The hit hurt a lot because there were a couple of combo lines with Tour Guide. So I do think that Unchained is not nowhere near as strong where it once was. It really liked going up against a Rice Heart back in the days, back when a Rice Heart was still legal, because their effects trigger even when they get banished. So it had a very good Kashtira matchup back in the days. But I mean, you can still win games. Like if they open well enough, they're gonna be winning some games. But I'll put this at B. It's definitely not C, but it's not A tier either. It's a decent option in case you want to take it to some case tournament or something like that. So now we have Floowandereeze. Okay, so this is the deck that ever since it came out, people have been fearing this deck. Like people, they know, like everybody knows how strong this deck is. Like everybody clowns like Flu players, but everybody knows like, hey, that's the Flu player right there. Better watch out. Better hide your girlfriend from that guy, you know, because they run stuff that nobody wants to see, right? Stuff like Shifter, Featherstorm, you know. Empen itself is annoying. Like if you play like a Link Climb deck, Empen by itself is a very good floodgate, right? So and on top of that, on top of everything, they just got a new card in Phantom Nightmare, the quick play. I think it's called like Swallower or something like that. It's basically another Advent, right? It's a quick play that dodges stuff like Imperm, Valor, you know, and you're able to add a Wing Beast with the same level, right? So if you have something like a DD Crow in hand and you don't have any other Flu cards, you can add Robina. So you basically have another way to add Robina or Eaglin depending what you need. So not only does it dodge things, it also gives you consistency. So now you're gonna have to Now you're gonna have 6 quick plays, which I mean you can bump it up to more by adding Book of Moons and stuff like that. But 6 quick plays that give you consistency, absolutely insane. I honestly do feel like I have to put this in S. Like it has the fact that it can play Shifter just tears apart Fire King right off the back. It tears apart a lot of the decks that want to see their stuff in the graveyard. It's a very good anti-meta choice, and I mean, if it becomes popular enough, it might not even be anti-meta. It might just be the meta, right? So that's why I'm gonna have to put Flu in tier S. I honestly believe that new quick play that it got, it was already A before the quick play. Like it could take games off of every deck in this list easily. If they open like Shifter and combo, but now with the new quick play, adding consistency plus being able to dodge things. Definitely has to go in S. So now we're gonna have Voiceless Voice. So Voiceless Voice is an interesting deck because I like decks that have monster interruptions plus back row interruptions, as this sets both of those up. The Protector being able to Omni Negate plus be a beefy boy plus a trap card, which is an interruption of itself. I like decks that have double layer. Even better if they have triple layer. But I mean, you can do triple layer if you play hand traps. So that's another option. So I mean, this deck is good. This deck is definitely good. I don't think it's gonna be like up there on release. Maybe like once it gets another wave of support, it'll get there. But I mean, don't get me wrong. This deck is pretty good. Now we have Kashtira. Kashtira got a Unicorn to 3, right? It's almost like Konami forgot that Kashtira topped for such a long time, right? They were like, you know what, Kashtira, they've been doing bad. Let's just give them more consistency. Guess what? We have a guy that's won 2 or 3 regionals back to back with Kashtira now because they added consistency. Once again, Shifter is one of those things that just it's right there. It's right there, right? It's kind of like a heart attack, right? Like, you know, it can happen to anybody, but you just can't expect it, right? So you don't know who you're sitting against. You know, you don't know what deck they're running. You try to play the Activate Shifter and you're like, okay, I'm gonna lose this game. So Kashtira is one of those decks. And the fact that they can OTK you so easily, they have big bodies, right? Fenrir is full combo, Unicorn is full combo. I mean, such a good deck. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to come back to that one. Because I'm gonna have to come back to it because it's actually tough where I want to put it. We have Labyrinth Transaction Rollback came out recently. Butler's a very good card, right? Being able to give you a body plus like turn 0 plays, pretty good if you ask me, right? So definitely A. Vanadium is one of those you lose to Droll deck. I'm about to put this at B. It just loses to Droll very hard. They played so many field spells, so many searches. Everybody's going to be playing Droll, by the way. Everybody's going to be playing Droll. So if your deck loses to Droll, you better have a backup plan. So now we have Tierlaments. So Tierlament lost Kelbeck and Agito in the last ban list, but they have great synergy with the Horus cards, right? Being able to summon the Vampire, mill 4 from both decks. More than likely, you're going to mill something you want, so then you get extra triggers. I mean, the Horus cards are so good on this deck. It almost makes it so like they didn't even lose Agito and Kelbeck, right? Because they can just have the rank 8 option. Yeah, I mean, like we've had a lot of regional wins from Tierlaments. So, this one's another tough one right here. So, honestly, I'm gonna have to put this at S. Like, it has a good Fire King matchup because even if your stuff gets destroyed, you're like, okay, I'm a trigger, right? So, I'm gonna have to put this at S. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to put this at S. Like, if we're looking at the most recent results, right, going up against like almost full power Fire King. Not, I mean, it's not full power Fire King until now, but I still think that it has a good Fire King matchup. Let's just put it like that, right? Especially with the horror stuff. Like if you start with like Sarcophagus, like your opponent is almost forced to pop the Sarcophagus and use their interruption on that, because otherwise they're gonna be able to get triggers from other Horus monsters. So Horus tier, a very, very good option, like tier S, honestly. We have Rikka, Sonavilon. They're getting some new support with the Aromage stuff. So, like I said, the meme is that Europeans love this deck and they end up topping with this deck. And while over here in North America, people don't really care about this deck. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe because like over here in North America, people are like, oh, you're playing like a plant deck? Like, why are you playing a plant deck? I don't know. Some like deep-seated, like, I don't know. They just don't like plants. But I don't know. People, this deck is still strong. It has a 1-card combo. So yeah, I'm about to put this A. Yeah. Vanquish Soul. Good. Like if you have access to Raisin, is good. I've seen the super heavy samurai build, so they can go into Dempsey, search Raisin. I don't know if that's the best way to play the deck. But I feel like going up against tiers like the decks like Tierlaments, Fire King, I mean those decks that have just so much gas, I don't think ending on a single interruption is the play. I mean, the fact that they can make Dweller is very good. Honestly, I'm about to put this at the top of B. Okay, there you go. Top of B, because I forgot that the fact that they can make Dweller so easily gives them a huge advantage, especially they can make Baguska against Flu. They can make Dweller against Tier and Fire King. So, okay. We have Dragon Link took a big hit. The fact that the meta switched from like only Tierlament to now being like fire, water, decks that don't really care about Bestials. So, I mean, it's still decent. Don't get me wrong, but probably over here, yeah. I mean, Bestials don't really do that much if you're not playing. Like, I mean, Bestials are good. They give you like an extra body and they give you like access to regain and stuff like that. But they're really, really good whenever you play against a light or dark deck. And unfortunately, we're not in that meta at the moment. Centurion giving you calamities. So with like 1-card calamities, so many 1-card calamities, is kind of insane, honestly. And I mean, the new Synchro 12 just got announced, which almost tells us like, hey, Calamities is gonna get banned, guys, so don't worry about it. Next list, that card is gone, which I believe it. That card should be gone. It's just so unfair, but as of right now, I think it's a good option. I think I would put it above Voiceless Voice, yeah. They can play a lot of hand traps as well, so it's a very good deck. Now we have Yubel. Yubel is good. The fusion monster is insane, right? Like being able to super poly your opponent's entire board is kind of insane as long as you have Yubel. I don't know, you do have to run a lot of bricks in the deck, but this is the super poly deck, right? Like if you're gonna play a super poly deck, this is the one, because you have a lot of extra slots in the extra deck. I don't know if the way is gonna be playing like a pure Yubel deck, or if you're going to want to mix it up with something else. But I don't think you can win by super polying alone. So I'm going to have to put this here as of right now until people realize like what to mix it up with. But as of right now, I don't think that's the move. Sky Striker has engaged to 2. Unfortunately, Engage is not a 3. I do think that Engage is going to come back to 3 in the near future, because even with 2 Engages is not doing much. They have 3 Thrust, 2 Engages, and even then it's not enough, right? They took a big hit once Verti got banned, because they needed like something like a Verti Anaconda that they can just have access to, giving them like a turn 1 play, Now you just kind of let them go first, and they don't really have a good turn 1 play, and then they get OTK'd, right? So they need something like a Verti Anaconda to have a turn 1 play. But as of right now, yeah, I'm out to put this as C. Now we have Salamangreat. Salamangreat with the Princess is going to be pretty nice. Gives you more, like if you open Fire, or if you open Gazelle, you have a lot more combo options. There's even like routes where you can like add Ash Blossom from deck, so that's a pretty interesting play that you can do if now that Princess is out. So let's see, Salamangreat, but even then, you know, your end board is still an Nibiru token, right? If your deck cannot play through Droll or Nibiru, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? What are we doing? Infernoble Knight, it sold it hit really hurt. It just hurt so much because it sold it meant any two warriors in the game meant full combo. But now you actually have to get to a Synchro 5 so you can go into your Angelica and then you can combo. So it's you need a 4 and a 1. So yeah, Infernoble Knights is in a bad spot at the moment. Where would I put this though? I think it's better than Salamangreat. Do I think it's better than Unchained? I don't think so. No, I don't think it's better than Unchained. So I think it's above Salamangreat, but it's better than Unchained, yeah. Because at least it doesn't lose to Nibiru because you have Gearfried. Or you can set up like an early Appaloosa or something like that. Or a Baron. We have Snake Eye Fire King. So Snake Eye Fire King. I mean, you have the Wanted engine, you have the Fire King stuff, you have the Snake Eye stuff. You have so many ways to like go for game with this deck. Princess, SP Little Knight. I mean, Flame Birch. I mean, this deck has so much gas. It's almost insane. They even have combos like you can do post Droll, so it doesn't lose to Droll, doesn't lose to Nibiru, doesn't lose to Imperm Ash. I mean, sure, if they open like one starter and you Imperm or Ash them, they lose. But if they open like a decent hand, then they can push through so much. So yeah, this is gonna be like the deck of the format. Snake Eye, Fire King, Wanted, Sinful Spoils. You know, so it's an expensive deck. Bonfires, Wanteds. You know, you name it. Yeah, your wallet is going to hurt, right? Your wallet is going to hurt. So now we have another one, which is the Rescue Ace with the Wanted stuff. You know, both of these decks have access to the Princess. So even Whale, I mean, they can go into Heat Soul. They have a lot of combos. The fact that Princess is out, it means that you almost have no way to stop the Turbulence. Aside from them special summoning out Turbulence, you don't have emergency, right? It's just Turbulence and nothing else. Try to activate effect. They hit you with the Imperm. Sure, that's the only way nowadays that they can get hit by Imperm, because their usual route allows them to have like SP Turbulence, which means that even if you Imperm them on the summon of Turbulence, it doesn't matter, because then they just link it off for Princess. Princess special summon out Turbulence, and then they activate Turbulence effect. And if you activate Infinite Impermanence, target Turbulence on, like if you chain it to the Turbulence effect, then they'll just chain SP Little Knight, targeting Turbulence, dodging Imperm. So Imperm is Imperm and Baylor were the only things that were able to hit it, but now Konami was like, you know what we can do it. Let's make Rescue Ace even better, so they don't lose to Imperm or Baylor. So yeah, this deck is strong. Let's just put it like that. Yeah, I'm gonna put them like that. Yeah, I mean, Turbulence, you know, setting 4. It's just such a simple yet powerful play, right? Like, it's one of those like, this is my game plan, right? Your opponent knows what your game plan is. Set 4 with Turbulence. But they managed to do it now because they have so many ways to achieve that. So, yeah. But now we have Pure Fire King with the Wanted stuff. also at the top, also tier S. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would put them like these. Flu could probably go at the last place in tier S, only because he has to open shifter in order to like if it opens shifter, it almost like auto wins against the rest of the decks. But yeah, Fire King Sinful Spoils is so good. Like we're talking like Runic is such an insane card. Being able to activate in the damage step is insane, right? Then you pitch Kieran special summon in the damage step. Your opponent can't respond unless they have like an activation negation. But I mean, you have some very very interesting plays that you can do in the damage step. Even like a normal summon Ash Blossom is so threatening, not because you can make Typhon, but because you can go into the battles into battle, crash, and then you have a whole lot of triggers that you can activate. And depending on what your graveyard or your hand is, you can even go for game by normal summoning an Ash and crashing. That's how interesting Fire King is. It has some very strong pushes. Like it can OTK you with most hands. It does lose to Joel. I've mentioned that already, but it can play like even like turn 0, like during your opponent's turn. Like if you open Kieran, plus if you open like other cards in your hand. So a very very cool deck. Now you're gonna have to go to Purrely. I mean, Nor is still a card, right? Nor is definitely still a card. People are running Underworld the Goddess. People are actually cutting their Underworlds because not that many Purrelys, which means that Purrely goes up in value. They're the Zeus masters. They can make Zeus with a single quick play if it resolves. It's a good deck. Going first, if you don't have a way to out Nor, you just kind of lose. And going second, being able to set up Zeus, very very good. So I'm gonna have to put them probably at the top of tier A. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean they have strong going first and strong going second place, right? That's how you kind of like decide what decks are good, and they have both. So now we have Goaty with the Runic stuff. I think is the best way to do it. Maybe with the new support that's coming out, that you might be able to do like a pure Runic, a pure Goaty thing without the Runic stuff. That means that you can have a better way to play Shifter, right? Because now you can play Shifter, but you don't want your Runic stuff to get banished. But with the new Goaty cards, you can just main deck the Shifter, right? Without having to worry about your stuff having to hit the graveyard. So it's an interesting deck. Can go into Whale, pop everything. It has a lot of board wipes. It's a Shifter deck, right? So this one's the more like this is one of the more like we'll have to wait and see how it does against the meta, because there's not that many people playtesting this deck, so you can't really like see how good it is against the meta. You can only like theorize how good it will be. So that's why I'm gonna put it probably at the top of B. Yeah, at the top of B, especially with the new support. But it can very well go into A if I'm able to see some more like cool things with the new support. So now we have Branded, just like Branded. Like they still have access to the gimmick luck, the gimmick puppet luck. I don't know why people are not running that. I will be running it because I like auto winning games without giving my opponent a chance to win, right? If you want to win in board games or like in games in general, you have to be as unfair as possible to your opponent, right? And gimmick puppet is the most unfair thing you can do. So why wouldn't people run it? I don't know, but sure, it's a brick, but still, like, why wouldn't you want to auto win? People are dropping Bestials. Crows are still around, but they're not that popular. But I mean, Branded is still a powerhouse. Mirror Jade is an insane card. The one thing about Mirror Jade is that the effect, once you trigger it to pop everything during the end phase, your opponent can take advantage of that. Like if they're playing something like Fire King, or if they're playing like Horus Things. If you play against Horus Things, you're gonna have a tough time, because then all their horse things are gonna trigger, and then you're gonna suffer. So I'll put it at A. Yeah, bottom of A. I'll put it at bottom of A. Sprite's getting that new level 2 monster. Sprite is a decent deck. I mean, it still has Mosquito, which can OTK pretty easily. It still has very good going first lines, right? Like, you can end up on the Melfi stuff. You can end up like Carrot Red. You can end up on Sprint Bounce. You can end up on Smashers or Double Cross. I mean, he has some very good going first place, and going second, you think you can OTK pretty easily. So this is I feel like it has to be an A, right? It has to be an A. Yeah, probably like above Voiceless Voice. Labyrinth above Voiceless Voice too. Yeah, I like this. Now we have we have Virtual. Virtual can make Beatrice and send a Mayakashi trap card, and then during the opponent's turn, send transactional rollback. Transactional rollback, copy Mayakashi, turn skip your opponent, and even they can even recycle the transactional rollback with Neon, resend it with Beatrice. They have a way to recycle their stuff, right? Like, all they can do is like banish stuff with Shen, put it back with Neon, so they can recycle their Beatrice, they can recycle their transactional rollback, they can recycle whatever they want. So but the fact still remains is like, Virtual needs to have like something face up to target, like either like a Qinglong or a Chuchi or a face or a monster, right? They need that body on the field to stick, or that card on field to stick, so that they can activate their effects in hand. And with stuff like Purrely or Fire King or Tierlament, like, what are they gonna do? Like, how are they gonna keep that card face up, right? It's almost impossible. So yeah, I'm gonna have to put them. Honestly, I think it's better than Infernoble, so I'm about to put them over here. I do think it's better than Infernoble. At least they have a turn skip option now, so that's good. And even if they draw this stuff, they can like pitch it off Qinglong or Xuanhu and stuff like that. So now we have Ashened. Ashened, it's not ready. It's not ready. The art looks cool. The effects are interesting. The field spell, a lot of people are skipping on the fact that it turns your opponent's type into Pyro, which is good if you're playing Super Poly. So you could be playing like a Super Poly extra deck. But it's just not ready. The best thing they can do now is like Super Poly, pop cards with the quick play that pops, or with the dragon that pops the opponent's field. So they have some interesting plays, but it's just not ready right now. I'm gonna have to put it at the top of C. Okay, so Sky Striker at the top of C, then Ashen, then Yubel. Yeah, I like this. So let's see. Kashtira. Honestly, Kashtira has to go at the top. I think probably somewhere over. If they open Shifter, they beat Tierlament, right? But it's only if and then. So assuming they don't open Shifter, Tierlament has an advantage. So, because you're gonna not see Shifter most of your games, right? At least the math says so. So unless they're like incredibly lucky, like my opponents, like, I'm talking to you, Nick, always open Shifter against me, or at least most of the time. But yeah, I'm gonna have to put it above Flu, under Tier, and then so yeah, like if you're gonna go to like a case tournament or YCS or a regional, any of these 6 decks will be a good option. I mean, even the A decks will be decent options. Anything in the top 2 rows will be good. These ones are risky, and this one's I I would not recommend either of these three. These ones are risky. So anything in A and anything in S would be a good option. But let me know if you agree with this list. As always, this was Yara here, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.